Fame has always been a strange companion, offering both unbelievable heights and unexpected crashes, and nowhere is this more visible than in Hollywood, where stars often find themselves praised one moment and forgotten the next. The entertainment world opens doors to millions of dreams, bright lights, red carpets, screaming fans, all of which make success feel permanent while it quietly slips away. Many famous actors and musicians began their journeys full of excitement, receiving awards, starring in major movies, and becoming beloved faces in homes around the world. Yet even with all the wealth, attention, and admiration, life can take unpredictable turns, pushing some stars toward dark paths they never imagined. Mental health struggles, addiction, financial troubles, and the pressure to always stay perfect can slowly break them down, leaving them overwhelmed and lost. In this article, we explore the heartbreaking stories of 20 Hollywood stars who once enjoyed global fame, but later faced homelessness, poverty, and personal battles that changed everything. While their early careers were filled with success, their later years reveal harsh realities that often hide behind the glamour of entertainment. From actors like Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane in the iconic Superman films, to child stars like Dana Plato and Corey Haim, who grew up under bright lights but later fought emotional and financial battles. Each story shows how fragile fame can be. Some of these celebrities battled mental illness, a struggle often hidden behind forced smiles, while others fell into addiction as a way to escape the heavy pressures of fame. A few tried to rebuild their lives, seeking help and support, while some were unable to escape their circumstances. Hollywood offers great opportunities, but it does little to protect those who fall, leaving many to face their darkest moments alone on the streets or in unstable environments. As we examine their stories, it becomes clear that fame does not always bring happiness, stability, or lifelong success. Instead, it can magnify personal pain, making challenges harder to face. These stories are not meant to shame or judge, but rather to shed light on the human side of these stars, their struggles, their battles, and the quiet suffering behind the curtains of fame. Through their journeys, we also learn about the importance of mental health support, compassion toward those facing addiction, and the reality that even the brightest stars can fade when life becomes too heavy to carry. Their lives serve as reminders that success is fragile and that everyone, no matter how famous, deserves care, help, and understanding. As we move further into this heartbreaking journey, we come across another group of once famous Hollywood stars whose stories show how unpredictable life can be. These actors, musicians, and performers once lived inside shining worlds full of applause, bright lights, and fan mail that came by the thousands. Yet today, many of them walk to the same city they once ruled, but now as strangers no one notices. It is almost impossible to imagine how fast fame can disappear when you look at someone who once had a personal driver, expensive clothes, and worldwide respect, now sitting quietly on a sidewalk with a cardboard sign asking for a few dollars. Their stories remind us that success is not permanent, and fame is not a guarantee of a happy life. Some of these stars fell due to addiction, while others lost their money because of bad financial advice. Some were betrayed by people they trusted. Many could not adjust when Hollywood stopped calling their phone. Behind every shocking transformation, there's a real human being, someone who once made millions smile, but who now struggles just to survive each day. One of the most painful things to understand is how lonely these people feel. When they were famous, crowds followed them, cameras flashed constantly, and fans shouted their names. But when the fame goes away, the world grows silent. Friends disappear. Producers forget them. Even family sometimes steps away. Hollywood is known for creating stars, but it is also known for dropping them quickly when they are no longer needed. These forgotten celebrities often say they felt invisible long before they became homeless. They felt their relevance fading, their opportunities shrinking, and their importance slowly being erased from the industry they gave their youth and energy to. Some stars had everything, but just one bad decision changed everything. Others fought personal battles for years, hiding their pain behind smiles on television. Many went through divorces, lawsuits, health problems, or tragedies that pushed them into emotional darkness. Without support, some turned to alcohol or drugs, and once addiction takes over, it can destroy careers in months. The saddest part is that most people see these actors only through the lens of their downfall. They forget the talent these stars brought to Hollywood. They forget the joy these entertainers once gave to millions. Behind every troubled face on the street, there's a legacy, maybe a hit movie, a famous TV show, or a song that once topped the charts. These celebrities might be unrecognizable today, but that doesn't erase their contributions to the world of entertainment. What makes their situation even more tragic is how society reacts. Many people judge them without knowing their story. Some assume they wasted money. Others believe they were irresponsible. But life is rarely that simple. Sometimes someone can work very hard, save money, and still end up with nothing because of medical emergency, a mental health struggle, or a sudden career collapse. Famous or not, homelessness can happen to anyone when life hits too hard. Hollywood's forgotten stars serve as a powerful reminder that we should treat everyone with compassion. The world may have pushed them aside, but their stories teach us that dignity should not depend on fame or wealth. No matter how far someone has fallen, they still deserve kindness. Their journey shows the importance of mental health, real friendships, and financial awareness, things that matter much more than red carpets or awards. When you look at these stars now, you may see people who are lost, broken, or defeated. But if you look deeper, you will see survivors. You will see people who once climbed to the top of a very competitive world and who now fight every day to stay alive. Their stories may be painful, but they also carry important lessons about life, humility, and the true meaning of success. As we continue exploring forgotten faces of Hollywood, it becomes clear that every fallen star has a story that is much deeper than what people see on the surface. Many of them never expected their lives to take such a painful turn. When they first entered Hollywood, they were full of dreams, confidence, and excitement. They believed the world was opening its doors to them, and in many ways it did. They enjoyed success that most people can only imagine: big houses, famous friends, expensive cars, and daily attention from fans and media. But the thing no one tells young actors is that Hollywood is not just a dream factory. It is also a place full of pressure, fear, and constant competition. The same people who cheer for you today might replace you tomorrow. This reality slowly eats away at the confidence of many celebrities, especially when they begin aging or when new talent arrives with more energy and a fresher image. As roles dry up and calls from producers become less frequent, some stars begin feeling lost, unsure what direction their life should take next. For some, the pressure became too heavy to carry. They got used to the fast lifestyle, expensive parties, luxury spending, and trying to look perfect all the time. When money flowed constantly, it was easy to spend without thinking about the future. But when the fame faded, their lifestyle did not fade with it. Bills kept coming. Agents stopped supporting them. And without stable work, their savings quickly disappeared. Some stars even trusted the wrong people: managers who stole their money, partners who used them, or friends who stayed only as long as the money lasted. Once the bank accounts were empty, those so-called friends vanished instantly, leaving the stars alone and confused. Others dealt with emotional wounds that no one around them understood. Fame often hides pain. Many celebrities struggled with depression, anxiety, or loneliness long before they became homeless. But because they lived in a world where everyone expected them to be strong, beautiful, and perfect, they kept their problems hidden. They smiled for the camera even when their heart was breaking. Over time, this emotional pressure turned into something far more dangerous. Some began drinking to numb their pain. Others used drugs to escape reality. And once addiction enters a person's life, it becomes extremely difficult to break free. Hollywood has a long history of losing gifted people because they could not escape their inner struggles. But not every story is about addiction or bad choices. Some stars became homeless because of medical issues that drained all their money. Others suffered accidents that left them unable to work. Some went through bitter divorces that destroyed their finances. And a few simply grew older in an industry that rarely gives second chances to aging actors. Hollywood is very quick to celebrate youth, but extremely slow to support those who are past their prime. This painful truth explains why so many older celebrities suddenly disappear from the spotlight. But the saddest part is how society treats them after they fall. When these stars walk the streets today, many people do not even realize who they are. They pass by them without a second look, unaware that the person sitting on the sidewalk once entertained millions. Some of these celebrities say that being ignored hurts even more than losing their fame. They feel invisible, forgotten, and erased from a world they helped build. Yet, despite everything, many of these once famous individuals still show incredible strength. They continue fighting every day, hoping for a fresh start or at least a little kindness from others. Their downfall teaches us that life does not always go in a straight line. Even the brightest stars can fade if circumstances turn against them. And if this can happen to people who once had millions of fans, it can happen to anyone. This is why their stories matter. They remind us to stay humble, stay grateful, and treat every person with respect, no matter who they are or what they're facing. As we move deeper into this emotional journey, we begin to see how truly fragile the world of fame can be. Many of the forgotten Hollywood stars we talk about today once felt like they were on top of the universe. They were invited to exclusive parties, offered expensive gifts, and praised by millions of fans who believed they would stay famous forever. But the truth is that fame is like a light, bright when it is shining, but quick to fade when the power behind it disappears. And for many of these celebrities, the moment that light went out, they found themselves standing in complete darkness. Their lives changed so quickly that they barely had time to understand what was happening. One day they were signing autographs, and the next day they were struggling to pay rent. This sudden fall is not only painful, but also deeply confusing. When a person spends years believing they are loved and needed, it is extremely difficult to accept that the world has moved on without them. Some stars describe this experience as losing their identity. For so long, they were known simply as the actor, the singer, the star, or the legend. When that title disappears, they no longer know who they are. Their days become empty. Their self-esteem breaks. And the depression that follows often pushes them further into isolation. This emotional crash can be even more damaging than financial loss. Many stars who ended up homeless did not reach that point because they were careless. They reached that point because they were emotionally overwhelmed. Imagine spending half your life pretending to be strong, beautiful, and confident, only to suddenly feel forgotten and unimportant. The emotional weight of that realization is heavier than most people can imagine. Hollywood rarely provides mental health support for its stars. It is a place that expects perfection, not weakness. Many celebrities are afraid to ask for help because they don't want people to see them as broken. So instead of reaching out, they shut their problems inside. Over time, those hidden wounds grow deeper. And when emotional pain mixes with financial difficulties, the result can be devastating. Another heartbreaking reality is how quickly the entertainment industry replaces people. Younger, newer, more energetic talent arrives every year. Producers and directors prefer actors who can attract a modern audience. This leaves many aging stars with fewer roles, even if they are still talented. But when work stops coming in, bills do not. Taxes, loans, mortgages, and medical expenses continue stacking up. Some stars tried starting new businesses, but many of those failed. Others trusted agents who mishandled their money. A few even lost everything due to scams or fraud. Before long, their savings disappeared and their financial world collapsed. Once they fall behind, catching up becomes nearly impossible. And unlike regular workers, celebrities do not have long-term job security or retirement plans. Their income depends completely on being chosen for roles. When roles stop, the money stops. Unfortunately, homelessness becomes the last stage in this painful downward journey. Some stars end up sleeping in old cars, while others find shelter under bridges or in public parks. A few rely on the kindness of strangers, hoping someone might recognize them and offer support. But most people simply walk by, assuming they are just another homeless person. They have no idea that this person once walked red carpets, starred in famous movies, or filled stadiums with cheering fans. These forgotten stars often say that the hardest part is not losing fame. It is losing dignity. They feel ashamed, embarrassed, and scared. Yet, despite their suffering, many of them still hold on to hope. Some dream of getting a second chance. Others hope for stable housing or a simple job that can help them rebuild their life. Their stories remind us that even in the darkest moments, human beings continue fighting to survive. And their experiences teach us one powerful lesson. When life pushes someone down, what they need the most is kindness, not judgment. As we continue this heartbreaking look into the lives of forgotten Hollywood stars, we start to understand that many of them did not fall because they were weak or irresponsible. In fact, many of them were incredibly strong and brave. They fought battles that most people never see. Fame often hides a person's pain, and Hollywood is full of silent struggles that go unnoticed by the world. Many of these celebrities spent years pretending that everything was perfect, even while going through emotional storms that were tearing them apart on the inside. They smiled for cameras, attended red carpet events, and performed on stage as if their lives were stable and joyful. But once the spotlight turned off, they would go home to loneliness, fear, and pressure that kept growing heavy with time. Some of these stars came from difficult childhoods. They grew up poor, or they faced family problems that left deep scars. Hollywood became their escape, a place where they could reinvent themselves. At first, the fame felt like a miracle. People loved them, praised their talent, and treated them like heroes. But they carried old wounds that fame couldn't heal. Without proper emotional support, those wounds began affecting their decisions, their relationships, and their mental health. Others faced pressure from demanding agents, strict studio contracts, or toxic relationships. They were pushed to work long hours without rest. They were told what to eat, how to dress, how to look, and even how to behave. Their entire life became a performance. And when your whole world becomes a performance, you eventually lose track of who you really are. Many stars slowly broke under that pressure, and by the time they realized they needed help, everything around them was already falling apart. There were also stars who trusted the wrong people at the worst possible time. Hollywood can be a dangerous place because it attracts not only talent, but also manipulators who want to take advantage of that talent. Some actors lost millions of dollars to business scams. Others were betrayed by partners who stole their savings. There are stories of managers who lied, accountants who cheated, and friends who disappeared the moment the money ran out. It is almost impossible to rebuild your life when everything you saved is suddenly gone. These forgotten stars were left with nothing, not because they didn't work hard, but because someone else destroyed their financial future. Health problems also played a major role in the downfall of many celebrities. Some suffered injuries during filming that left them unable to continue working. Others developed long-term illnesses that drained their bank accounts. Medical treatments in the United States are extremely expensive, and without steady income, even a single health emergency can leave a person bankrupt. And because many celebrities rely on physical appearance and physical ability, even a small health problem can end their career completely. Hollywood rarely supports stars once they are no longer useful. This harsh truth becomes clear when you look at how many actors disappear after facing health issues. What makes these stories even more painful is how society reacts after these stars fall. Instead of empathy, many people show judgment. They say things like, they wasted their money, or they should have saved better. But these comments ignore the complicated, painful past that many celebrities carry. They also ignore the systemic problems in the entertainment world. Problems like exploitation, unfair contracts, unstable income, and mental pressure environments. The reality is far more complex than people assume. Yet even after losing everything, many of these fallen celebrities still show incredible courage. Some of them volunteer at shelters. Some speak openly about their struggles to help others. Some try to reconnect with their families or rebuild relationships that were damaged during their years of fame. And some simply try to survive each day with a quiet strength that most of the world fails to notice. Their experiences remind us that no matter how far someone has fallen, they still deserve respect. They still deserve compassion. And most importantly, they still deserve a chance to rise again. As we move further into the struggles faced by forgotten Hollywood stars, we begin to see that homelessness is not just a physical condition. It is an emotional and psychological battle that affects every part of a person's life. Many of these celebrities were never prepared for such a reality. They spent years living in luxury hotels, dressing in expensive clothes, and eating at the finest restaurants. But when fame faded and income disappeared, their entire world collapsed. The biggest shock for many was the moment they realized no one was coming to help them. When they were famous, their phones never stopped ringing. Friends invited them to parties. Producers begged them to join projects, and fans followed them everywhere. But the moment their names stopped appearing in headlines, those same people vanished. The silence became louder than any applause they ever received. Some of these stars described their fall into homelessness as slow, almost invisible at first. They told themselves it was temporary. They believed they would soon get another role or another chance. They moved from a mansion to a smaller house, then to a small apartment, and then to a friend's sofa. But after a while, even a friend's sofa was no longer available. With nowhere left to go, they found themselves living in old cars, abandoned buildings, or on city streets where no one recognized them anymore. What makes their situation more heartbreaking is how quickly society forgets them. A star who once smiled on magazine covers now sits alone, ignored by people who walk past as if they do not exist. Some even face cruel comments from strangers who assume they are lazy or irresponsible. These people do not understand that the person in front of them once worked extremely hard, sometimes harder than most ordinary workers ever have to. Fame often hides the amount of effort celebrities put into their careers. Behind every movie, every TV show, and every performance is years of training, rejection, sleepless nights, and emotional sacrifice. But none of that matters once fame disappears. To many people, a homeless person is just a homeless person, not a human being with history, talent, and memories of a life once filled with success. Add to this the emotional burden of losing everything, and the damage becomes even deeper. Many of these celebrities suffer from depression, anxiety, and trauma linked to their past experiences. Some feel guilty, believing they failed themselves or their families. Others feel ashamed, thinking the world is judging them. And some feel abandoned by the very industry that once celebrated them. Without support, these emotional wounds grow stronger. Some stars turn to addiction as a way to escape their pain. Others isolated themselves, believing they no longer belonged anywhere. Hollywood can be a brutal place. It shines brightly when you are useful, but the moment you struggle, it steps aside, leaving you to survive on your own. But not every story ends in hopelessness. There are many forgotten stars who slowly begin rebuilding their lives. Some find work in small local theaters. Others become mentors to young actors. A few are discovered by journalists or fans who share their stories online, inspiring people to help them. There have even been cases where former celebrities receive a second chance after years of hardship. Someone recognizes them. Someone offers them a role. Someone gives them a place to stay. These rare moments show that kindness still exists, even in an industry known for its cruelty. The journey back, however, is not easy. Many stars who live through homelessness say the hardest part is learning to trust again. They struggle to believe that someone's kindness is real and not temporary. They also struggle to rebuild their confidence, which was broken after years of rejection and failure. But they try. They push forward, step by step, carrying the hope that their life can still change. Their stories are living proof that even when the world turns its back, the human spirit can rise through darkness. These forgotten celebrities may have lost their fame, but they have not lost their will to survive. As we continue to explore the lives of these forgotten Hollywood stars, we begin to realize something very important. Homelessness is not a single moment. It is a long, painful journey that builds over time, shaped by many small events that eventually grow too heavy for one person to carry. Many celebrities reach this point not because of one big mistake, but because life slowly pushed them into a corner where escape became impossible. Losing work, losing money, losing friends, and losing stability. Each loss felt small at first, but together they create a storm powerful enough to destroy their entire life. What makes their story so emotional is that most of them tried extremely hard to stay afloat. Many took small acting jobs, voiceover jobs, or behind-the-scenes work just to survive. Some sold their personal items, jewelry, awards, clothing, memorabilia that once represented their achievements. It broke their heart to do so, but they had no choice. When someone is struggling to pay for food or medicine, even items filled with memories become things that must be sacrificed. Over time, these stars watch their old life disappear piece by piece. Yet even while losing everything, many of them kept believing that one day Hollywood would give them another chance. Hope, for many of them, was the only thing left. But hope is not always enough when the world around you refuses to see your worth. Another tragic part of their journey is the lack of family support. Some of these celebrities had families who were close to them during their successful years. But once their problems began, those relationships slowly broke apart. Fame often attracts family members who enjoy the benefits, free gifts, travel, and financial support. But when times become difficult, many of them step away. Some stars were even abandoned by their own children or spouses, left to face homelessness entirely on their own. This emotional betrayal is often more painful than losing money or fame. Friends, too, disappear quickly. Hollywood friendships are often built on convenience, not care. People stay close to you when you are famous because your presence benefits them. You make them look good, you help their career, or you give them access to opportunities. But when fame vanishes, so do these friends. Many once famous actors described the painful moment when they realized every number in their phone book belonged to someone who no longer wanted to speak to them. These celebrities felt the world closing in on them, leaving them in a silent, empty space where they had no one to call for help. Over time, the emotional struggle becomes as dangerous as the financial one. Depression begins to take over. Anxiety makes everyday tasks, like finding food or shelter, feel impossible. Some stars say they forgot how to hope, how to dream, or how to believe that life can improve. When someone loses everything, even simple things like waking up or staying positive become a heavy task. And yet, despite all of this pain, there's a quiet strength inside many of them that refuses to let go. They continue surviving day after day, even when life is harsh. Some find courage in small things: a warm meal at a shelter, a kind word from a stranger, a memory of a time when they were loved. These little moments become fuel for their spirit, helping them continue even when the world seems to have forgotten them. But what many people do not understand is that homelessness changes a person deeply. It changes the way they think, the way they trust, and the way they see the world. For a celebrity who once lived a life full of admiration and privilege, this transformation is even more shocking. They have to learn how to survive in conditions completely opposite the life they once knew. No more red carpets. No more personal assistants. No more luxury cars. Instead, they face cold nights, unpredictable days, and constant fear where they will sleep next. Still, their stories remind us that no matter how far a person falls, they never lose their humanity. They never lose their right to be treated with respect. And they never lose the possibility of rising again. These forgotten stars show us that life can be incredibly unpredictable, but also incredibly resilient. As we continue exploring the lives of forgotten Hollywood stars, it becomes clear that each story is unique, yet many share similar patterns of struggle, loss, and resilience. One of the most heartbreaking truths is how quickly the world forgets people who were once admired by millions. The stars we are discussing today were not ordinary people. They were entertainers who brought joy, laughter, and inspiration to countless fans. Some starred in blockbuster movies, others in beloved TV shows, and some had hit songs that became anthems for entire generations. Their talent was undeniable, and their presence left a lasting impression on the culture of their time. But despite their contributions, many of these stars now live lives that are unrecognizable to the public. They face the daily challenges of survival, from finding a safe place to sleep to securing food and health care. They experience the emotional pain of being ignored, overlooked, or judged simply for being homeless. It is a shocking contrast to the life they once lived, surrounded by cameras, fans, and adoring crowds. The reasons behind these falls are often complex and multi-layered. Many struggle with mental health issues such as depression, bipolar disorder, or anxiety, which were often intensified by the pressures of fame. Some face addiction problems, turning to drugs or alcohol to cope with stress, heartbreak, or loneliness. Others were victims of betrayal, poor financial management, or failed business ventures that drained their wealth. And for some, tragedy struck in the form of illness, injury, or loss of loved ones, leaving them without the support system they needed to continue. Despite all these obstacles, there is often a remarkable strength hidden beneath their struggles. Many of these stars refused to give up completely. Even when the odds were stacked against them, they tried to rebuild their lives, seeking work where they could find it, reconnecting with friends and family, or finding support through therapy and rehabilitation programs. Some even turned their experiences into a platform to help others, sharing their stories to raise awareness about mental health, addiction, and the harsh realities of fame. One of the most important lessons from these stories is the fragility of public attention. Fame is fleeting, and the same people who once celebrated these stars can easily forget them when they are no longer in the spotlight. It is a harsh reality that highlights the importance of compassion and empathy. Just because someone falls from public favor does not mean they are unworthy of care or respect. Another lesson is the resilience of the human spirit. Even in the darkest circumstances, many of these forgotten stars find ways to survive, adapt, and continue moving forward. They remind us that life is unpredictable and that setbacks, no matter how severe, do not erase the value of a person's past achievements or the potential for future growth. Their experiences also emphasize the importance of mental health and support systems. Had some of these celebrities received timely help for their struggles, their stories might have ended differently. It is a sobering reminder for all of us to pay attention to the mental and emotional well-being of those around us, especially those who appear to have it all. In the end, these forgotten stars serve as both a warning and an inspiration. They show us that fame and fortune are temporary, that life can change in an instant, but also that courage, determination, and hope can endure even the most difficult challenges. By remembering them, honoring their achievements, and learning from their experiences, we not only pay tribute to their legacy, but also gain insight into the deeper human truths behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Their lives, though marked by hardship, continue to teach valuable lessons about perseverance, empathy, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Continuing our journey to the lives of forgotten Hollywood stars, it becomes clear that their struggles are not only about fame lost or money gone. They are also deeply tied to the human need for connection, love, and purpose. Many of these celebrities, despite living glamorous lives for years, ultimately found themselves isolated, cut off from the networks of friends and fans who once surrounded them. Loneliness can be one of the harshest aspects of falling from fame. For someone who spent years receiving constant attention, recognition, and admiration, the sudden absence of those elements can feel like a type of erasure. Imagine going from being adored in front of thousands to being ignored by passers-by on a sidewalk, unseen, unheard, and unnoticed. This loss of social connection, combined with financial and personal struggles, can intensify feelings of despair and hopelessness. What is especially tragic is that many of these stars were not irresponsible or careless. They were talented, hard-working individuals who, despite their best efforts, became victims of circumstances beyond their control. The entertainment industry can be unforgiving, valuing novelty over experience and youth over wisdom. A star who was once celebrated for her beauty and charm can quickly find herself overlooked simply because she no longer fits the current image of marketable talent. And when rejection becomes a daily reality, it chips away at self-esteem, sometimes pushing individuals toward destructive coping mechanisms. Addiction, depression, and anxiety often follow, creating a cycle that is incredibly difficult to break. Another common theme among these forgotten stars is the weight of unhealed trauma. Many grew up facing difficult family situations, childhood abuse, or early hardships, and they turned to acting or music as a means of escape and self-expression. Hollywood initially provided a platform for their creativity and offered a sense of purpose, but when the spotlight faded, so did the structure and support that kept them afloat. Old traumas, unresolved and unaddressed, reemerge with full force.